there is a change that often arrives after 70. Not dramatic, not alarming, but steady and quiet. It touches energy, balance, memory, and even confidence. Experts speak about numbers and tests, but rarely about this gentle shift that most people simply learn to live with. There is a change that often arrives after 70. Not dramatic, not alarming, but steady and quiet. It does not announce itself with a single event. It unfolds in moments so ordinary they are easy to dismiss. A little longer to rise from a chair, a slightly shorter walk before rest feels necessary, a subtle pause before recalling a familiar word. None of these moments seem serious on their own, and that is precisely why they are rarely discussed. Most people who reach 70 have lived through far greater challenges: illness, loss, economic strain, family upheaval. These are the landmarks of life. Compared to such events, a little more fatigue or stiffness feels minor. There is a quiet pride in continuing without complaint, in adjusting without drawing attention, in moving forward without asking for help. But something shifts during this decade. The body, which once rebounded quickly from strain, begins to operate differently. Recovery slows. Balance requires slightly more attention. Sleep lightens. Energy fluctuates. It is not decline in the dramatic sense. It is recalibration. The quiet shift after 70 is not about becoming incapable. It is about becoming more sensitive to how the body responds to effort. Muscles that once strengthened easily now require consistency. Circulation that once adapted swiftly now benefits from rhythm. The nervous system that once handled stress briskly now appreciates steadiness. This shift is rarely explained plainly. Medical professionals focus on conditions, numbers, scans, and medications. These are important. But what they do not always explain is the subtle, everyday experience of aging beyond 70. The way energy feels different in the afternoon, the way balance feels slightly less automatic in dim lighting, the way confidence can be influenced by a single minor stumble. These are not failures, they are signals, signals that the body is entering a new phase, one that rewards attentiveness more than intensity. For many, this phase begins with physical sensations so small they blend into routine. Getting out of bed requires a moment longer. Knees feel heavier during colder weather. Climbing stairs demands a steadier grip on the railing. These sensations are not painful. They are simply noticeable. The reason they occur without warning is because the body adapts gradually. Muscle mass decreases slowly over years, not weeks. Nerve conduction speed subtly changes. Hormonal rhythms settle into a quieter pattern. Circulation may not respond as quickly to sudden demands. Because these shifts happen over time, they rarely trigger alarm. Instead, they are absorbed into the background of daily life. People compensate naturally. They lean slightly more when rising. They hold on to furniture discreetly. They choose well-lit paths without consciously thinking about why. Adaptation is a strength, but it can also hide patterns that deserve awareness. The aging body is not fragile, but it is less forgiving of neglect. In younger decades, missed sleep, irregular meals, and sudden bursts of effort were easily absorbed. After 70, the same habits may linger longer in the form of fatigue or stiffness. This is not a reason for fear. It is a reason for understanding. When the body changes its response time, the strategy must change as well. Beyond the physical shifts lies an emotional layer that is seldom addressed. The realization that something feels slightly different can influence confidence. A hesitation before stepping off a curb, a second thought before lifting something heavy, a quiet doubt after forgetting a name momentarily. These experiences rarely lead to open conversation. Many seniors protect their dignity by keeping such concerns private. They do not want to appear anxious or diminished. They do not want to burden others with what feels small, yet the emotional impact of these subtle shifts can be powerful. Confidence is tied closely to predictability. When the body feels predictable, movement feels natural. When predictability wavers, even slightly, hesitation enters. Hesitation can lead to withdrawal. Social invitations may be declined if fatigue feels uncertain. Evening outings may feel less appealing if balance feels less automatic in dim lighting. Gradually, without clear decision, the circle of activity narrows. This narrowing is not dramatic, it is incremental. But over time, it shapes quality of life. It is important to acknowledge that this emotional layer is not weakness, it is awareness. The mind senses change and responds cautiously. The goal is not to eliminate caution. It is to prevent caution from shrinking life unnecessarily. Small signs often matter more than people think. A slower walking pace is not simply age, it may reflect reduced muscle strength. Minor balance corrections when turning may indicate that coordination needs gentle reinforcement. Increased fatigue after conversation may signal that the body requires steadier rest patterns. These signs are not warnings of catastrophe. They are invitations to adjust before difficulty increases. Ignoring them out of pride can allow patterns to deepen. Overreacting to them out of fear can create unnecessary anxiety. The wise path lies between those extremes. Awareness allows for gentle intervention, not dramatic change, not radical exercise regimens, simply consistent, thoughtful habits that support the body's new rhythm. Strength training does not need to be intense to be effective. Light resistance, practiced regularly, maintains muscle tone and joint stability. Walking, done consistently, supports circulation and balance. Stretching preserves mobility and reduces stiffness. Hydration becomes more important because the sense of thirst diminishes with age. Sleep becomes foundational because repair takes longer. Social connection becomes protective because isolation can magnify hesitation. These habits are not about reversing age. They are about stabilizing its effects. The body after 70 responds best to rhythm, regular meal times, consistent bedtime, predictable movement. The nervous system relaxes when patterns are steady. Inflammation decreases when stress is reduced. Muscles maintain strength when challenged gently but regularly. It is not intensity that preserves independence. It is continuity. Walking remains one of the simplest and most effective stabilizers. It maintains leg strength, coordination, and cardiovascular health. It also supports mental clarity, but the goal is not distance records. It is steadiness. When walking feels secure, confidence grows. When confidence grows, activity expands rather than contracts. Growing older does not mean growing smaller. It means adjusting expectations without abandoning engagement. It means acknowledging change without surrendering identity. The quiet shift after 70 is real. It touches the body and the spirit, but it does not define capability. It simply asks for alignment. Experts may not always explain this phase because it does not fit neatly into diagnosis or treatment. It exists in the space between health and illness, in the everyday adjustments that shape daily experience. Those who notice early and respond gently often maintain independence longer, not because they fought aging, but because they partnered with it. There is dignity in this partnership, in recognizing that strength now comes from consistency rather than speed, from steadiness rather than force. To walk toward 80, 90, and beyond requires more than endurance. It requires awareness. It requires respect for the body's signals. It requires habits that protect rather than challenge unnecessarily. The shift after 70 is not an ending. It is a recalibration, a quieter chapter that rewards patience and rhythm. And when that rhythm is honored, life does not shrink. It steadies, it deepens, it continues with clarity, with balance, and with confidence that grows not from denying change, but from understanding it.